So in the first video, we went through the old and new schematics and discussed the components that I will be installing, and then unboxed the Docan Power 300 amp hour 12.8 volt battery. Once we had the battery unboxed, we tested the battery's built-in screen and the Bluetooth app. In this video, we will unbox the Ecoworthy AC to DC charger and make it ready for install. Then we will look at the Renogy DC to DC charger and set up the battery ready for install. Finally, I have a surprise for those using Signal K. So we're back in the basement and I'm going to do the unboxing of the Ecoworthy AC to DC 20 amp charger. So I have it here. I bought this from Amazon. There'll be a link in the description. Small box, it's not massive. When you open the box, you have the DC side charging wires. There is no fuse on the charging wires, but there is this, I can't remember the name of this connector, but one of these connectors so you can disconnect from the rest of the wire. There's also a AC cable, so this is basically like a NEMA plug, or a kettle lead as we call it in the UK. And that's that. And then this is the unit. So it's in bubble wrap, so it's wrapped, and you pull it out of the bubble wrap, and basically it is 12 volt 20 amp charger. It looks pretty good. It's got this other connector that connects onto the DC to DC line very quickly, so you can do a quick disconnect from if you need to. It's got a switch on this end on the AC side, so you can switch it on and off at the AC. And it's got two LEDs at the side here. Now there is a manual in the box as well, so make sure you read it, and then a little document with some warnings on it. Safety warnings. So also on top, it tells you what the lights mean. So the two lights on this end, if the light is red and red, it means it's got power and it's charging. If it's red and green, it means it's charged or it's on standby. It's very straightforward. There's not much to it. However, what I have noticed, I don't know how I'm going to install this in the boat, because there's no way of screwing it down. So as you can see, there's no way to screw it down. Now, I've had this a few weeks and I've been thinking to myself, how should I screw it down? I asked a friend of mine to print me up some brackets, and I drew these up in a CAD program, and then I had a friend of mine, Pat, thanks Pat, to print these out for me. And as you can see, they are pretty small brackets, and I'm going to put one of them on either side of the unit itself and screw it all back together. So I'm gonna have to take it apart to put these on, and I think it's a little something that they maybe should have thought of at Ecoworthy. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take out these 8 screws here, 4 either end. So there it is, very simply. 1, and what I did is, when I designed this piece, I designed it in such a way that it needs a little bit of moving and like bending a little bit in order to get it to totally fit snug. But it's good because it will hang off the part, so I can hang it from the part basically. And then I went to the hardware store and I bought some longer screws, the same size. I think they're M3 screws. So I got same size screws. And I got some washers as well to protect the plastic. And I'll put one in each corner here. And then the screw is a different connector or a different. Okay, so the top end. Okay, so that's those 8 screws out, and this is gonna click into place like that, and then okay, so that's it done, and now it has legs. So it's got enough legs there to stand it on and to screw it down. So that's the unit finished. So a little disappointed that it didn't come with legs. However, it was really, I think it was only $89. So I'm not too disappointed. I got these made, and if anyone wants the model, let me know, and I will. I'll basically link it somewhere. One thing I didn't mention about the Ecoworthy charger is that the voltage that you can set it at is fixed. So there is no setting. Basically, it gives you 14.6 volts. 14.6 volts is, some people might say it's a little high. It's okay for the battery I've got. But some people had said that would say it might be a bit close to the cutoff in the BMS. So it's up to you if you like that one. You can always get a better one with a different a settable voltage. And that brings me to the next item, which is the Renogy DC-DC charger. So this is a Renogy DC-DC charger. It's an older model. And I bought it used. So I bought it used for $60. I think it's about 115 brand new, something like that, 120. So it was a good deal. I bought it used. There is no unboxing, but I will talk through it a little bit. So basically, it's a standard unit. I like the Renogy stuff. My solar panels are Renogy, solar controller is Renogy, and my inverter is Renogy. On this side, we've got these dip switches. Now these dip switches right here, they are to set the voltage and what type of device you're charging. So in our case, it's a lithium battery, which means that you set item or dip switch number 5 to off, and then basically the other ones, I followed the code in the manual, which it didn't come with, obviously, but it's downloadable from the website, so it's very simple. And then set this. In my case, I set it to 14.6 volts, which is the same as the Ecoworthy is giving out. Next to that, there is a sensor. That is a temperature sensor. It's really for lead acid batteries, not for lithium. So you don't need that, or I'm not going to use that in my case. Then these two connections here, one of these goes to the ignition. So the D plus goes to the ignition, and when the ignition is on, that is when it will turn this unit on. I've connected it to the ignition. Some people can connect it to the alternator, to one of the ports that says the alternator is charging, but basically it's going to give you a 12 volt signal on there. The other port here I talked about in the first video, and that is really the half charge. So if you connect a 12 volt signal to this one, it gives you half charge. So it will be at 10 amps, not 20. And then these two are the two output terminals. So we'll connect the lithium battery to that. On the opposite side, we will connect to the input with the lead acid battery. So the alternator charges the lead acid battery, and the lead acid battery in turn charges the lithium. And that's how we're going to do it. So that is the Renogy DC to DC charger. How are we going to arrange all the fuses and everything, and how are we going to adhere to the Coast Guard rules about lithium batteries? Are we going to put it in a battery box? Well, the cells are actually in a battery box, so it's already got its own battery box. If you look at the battery boxes that we had on the boat, so this is the battery box we had on the boat, it's really not big enough. So with the other camera, you can see that the battery box really isn't big enough to fit this battery in there. It's not tall enough, it's not wide enough, and it's not long enough. However, the top for this is big enough to go over, and really the regulations state that you must cover the terminals, right? Now we have fuses and everything on top of this device, and we want to shield them all. So what I did is I designed a piece like this where the battery fuses and the shunts can all be screwed to a 3D printed piece that will slide and securely hold onto the top of the battery. So what we've got here is, this is a 6-inch piece of 2.0 gauge wire. This is the Class T fuse. So I've got a Class T fuse that is screwed into place into the top of this plate. And then we've got the shunt that we had on the old boat. And then across from the shunt is 2 MRB fuses. So these MRB fuses, one of these is for the inverter and the other one is for the house panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert this onto the top of the battery. So it slides in to the top of the battery like that. It slides really easy, but you can see, actually you can see now it's locked down. So it's hooked onto the ledge in the battery that basically holds it in place. And then these corners here are held just by being pushed over. What we're going to do is put that on there and secure it with the screw. Always be careful with lithium batteries when doing this, that you don't touch the wrench on the other terminal. Now, I did look in the manual for the torque value and I couldn't find it, so I contacted the manufacturer and they said between 6 and 7 Newton meters. So make sure you use that torque. I'm just going to put it in lightly for now and then torque it up later when I find my torque wrench. So that's the positive side done. On the negative side, we need to do something because we've got about 5 or 6 connections coming in here. So what I did is I purchased this, which is a V-gate connector block. And basically it's a big solid chunk of metal. And here you bolt it to the battery. And then what happens is it's got 4 big terminals on the top for big battery cables, and then little ones around the side that you can connect up anything you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect all our connections to these 13, I think, different connections. It goes to here. So we're going to put it onto the terminal like so and connect it like that. Once it's in place, we're going to screw it down again. Be careful and always use the torque that we talked about. And this will bolt down to the terminal like so. And you'll be able to connect all the negatives. So that's how it's going to go on the boat, but we need to protect it. So we need to protect it from things dropping on from above. Now the battery box that I was just talking about, which I've been using previously for my House One battery, is here. I built these when I designed this, and thank you again, Pat, for 3D printing this for me. We are going to put this over the top like so, and then we're going to screw it down to the holes in the in here. So through these holes, we're going to screw it down. Now that's only going to lightly hold it. What we're going to do then is we're going to have a strap going this way, so strap forward to backwards, and then a strap side to side, so that it will be completely held in place. And the wires will come out through the holes where they would do on a normal battery box. Earlier I mentioned a surprise, and the surprise is that Naugahyde has released a new BT sensor plugin for Signal K that incorporates the BMS that is used in the Docan Power Battery, which means that the Docan Power Battery is fully supported by Signal K via this plugin. It's great news. Thanks for all the work. Naugahyde spent a lot of hours logged into my machine in order to do so. So thank you for all your work. So let's look at a demo of that. So this kit window shows the battery layout on Après, and currently you can see that nothing is populated except these three sections here. This is the battery monitor on the battery. It's showing a draw of 0.9 amps. Current voltage is 13.3 volts, and the current state of charge is 79%. In the Signal K browser, data browser, you can see I've got this device called sensors.jbdbms, and then a load of different categories. So we've got FETs, so it's the MOSFETs, whether it's what mode it's in, and that's basically a lookup table. State of charge ratio to 1, capacity 300 amp hours, and then cell information, cell 1 balance and voltage. If the balancer is on, there's a 1 here. Currently they're all off, but these are the individual voltages of each of the 4 cells. And then the total current draw, it's negative if it's pulling out, and it's positive if it's charging. Number of cycles, so that's the total number of charge cycles that this battery has seen. Remaining capacity, temperature, and current voltage as a total, so the whole battery pack voltage. In order to get this information, you go to the App Store and then plugins, and you need to search for the BT sensor plugin. So this sensor plugin, you can see it's my version is beta 2.2.4 right now, which is basically yesterday's version, and it supports a lot of stuff. I started to work with the developer of this on the Renogy solar controller that I have on my boat, and then we continued with this battery as well. So the Docan Power Battery is supported as well. So load this up. Once it's installed, restart the Signal K server, and then go to plugin config. If you look in plugin config, you can start setting up what's available here. You can pick an adapter. This will usually be the open plotter adapter that's available on the Pi, and then basically you can start adding sensors. So at the very bottom you'll get this plus here, and by pressing this you can add a sensor. Once you look in there and you can see your JBD BMS, it should automatically get picked up by the device, and then basically these are the settings I've got. So discovery timeout 30 seconds, name of the sensor, you can put whatever you want in there, but I've basically put in the name of the BMS. Polling frequency, I've used 60 seconds and used GAT, and then you can add these delta paths for all of this. So basically you can pick whatever path that you want, whether it's direct, you can basically say battery, something battery, electrical battery, or sensor, like I've done. But these are examples. So you line them all up, fill in the details, and then submit that. And from then on, once you reset it, you go to data browser, you'll have all this information. It's pretty straightforward to set up, and it gives you everything you need. In summary of the first 2 episodes, we bought the Docan Power 12.8 volt
300 amp hour battery pack. We added the Class T fuse. We added the MRB fuse, a dual one, one for the house connection and the other one for the inverter. We added a 3D printed top plate to here and screwed the fuses to it. And we were able to work with the Signal K team and one of the developers to add support for it to Signal K. We purchased the Ecoworthy 12 volt 20 amp AC to DC charger, and in this video we reviewed it. We found that one of the things that was missing was legs, so we added feet to it so that we could screw it down. But basically it comes ready to go out of the box. We also purchased a used Renogy 20 amp DC to DC charger, which basically we set up the dip switches. That was really all we had to do. So in the next video we'll set up the install, and we will add the fuses and install the batteries into their location where they're going to be used, take out the 120 amp that would have been here, and rearrange the wiring so that it's connected as shown in this diagram. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment.